Three, two, one. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Just Learn Crypto Show. Today we're here with Josh Scigala, CEO and co-founder of Vaultoro.com. Josh, thanks for coming back on the show. You came on a year ago. I'm excited to catch up with you. I mean, obviously it's probably been a pretty crazy year for both of us. Talk a little bit about Vaultoro. So thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Sean. It's great to be back. Yeah, it's been a while. We met on that crazy weird cruise, and back on the blockchain cruise. That was pretty fun. But yeah, it's been a crazy year, hasn't it? I mean, it's been a crazy. What has it been? Almost 2 years now. Shit.
It's been, yeah, definitely over a year. That cruise. When was that cruise? Like September or July or something like that. So it's been just over a year, but what a cool event. Have you been to an event that was like as just crazy as that one since then?
No, I gotta say no.
No, me neither, man. that was like, that was nuts, man. I'm just like reminiscing of it now, even like the nightlife that we had on that boat, like the DJs and the bands that they brought on and the lighting, and like it was unreal, man. It was like, that was like one of the most VIP experiences that I've ever had.
Yeah, right. And the strangest part was having all these like NPCs, models walking around.
Yeah, there was at least
they literally
250 like Ukrainian escorts that were on that boat.
It was the weirdest thing, and they would walk like that. When I call them non-player characters, I really do mean non-player characters, because they would walk like they would look out of a window on the boat, walk up the boat, look out the other window, and then turn around and walk back and look just like a non-player character, and then look out the window again, and then walk back up and they just sort of do this loop like there's some player on Grand Theft Auto or something.
Yeah. Well, I was actually, me and Ken had our room on the second floor, like the second lowest level, and I guess that's where most of them were staying. But like at night, man, there was naked girls running around the hallways. Like it was interesting, man. It was. I know a lot of the girls, the non NPCs, like the real women that we were talking with, you know, they were a little like weirded out by the fact that there was that, like it was an awkward situation for them.
It was very awkward. My wife was with me and she was like, this is just nuts. This is so shit.
Didn't a guy come up to either your wife or it was one of the girls that we were talking to in our circle and asked them like how much for a night, or wasn't there a situation like that?
Yeah, it was. And then
it was the French fry thing with Aaron and Todd.
Yeah.
Remember the guy remember the girl came up and Aaron was eating French fries and she was like, "You only eat salad." And she was like, "Yo, I'm not one of your girls on this boat."
Oh my God. Oh my God, it was so odd. Wow. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty, like I talked to a lot of the people that brought their wives, and it was just upsetting for them because you'd have all these just like, you know, sex objects walking around, and you know, they're there to have a good time, these people, and they just felt like staying in their rooms.
Yeah, well, I
so
mean,
that side was kind of annoying.
I feel bad for the guys too, because I mean, they had, you know, people, sex objects like me and you walking around the whole time.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's true. You hit the nail on the head.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, honestly, I feel like it's going to be pretty hard for any crypto event to ever just top that. I mean, yeah, there was some negatives, but just that whole trip, man, was so amazing.
It was amazing.
It was my first time to Spain. It was my first time on a helicopter ride. Like there was just there was a lot of firsts on that. There was one night where we were out in the middle of the ocean, and me and Ken were on some mind-altering substances, and we ended up kind of sailing through remember that night where everyone had to get off the top deck? We went through a huge thunderstorm.
Oh yeah.
It was blowing chairs.
That was blowing like crazy. Yeah.
Well, me and Ken found like this nice little private balcony, and we were just sitting there, and it was like every time the lightning would strike, which was constant, it was almost like something out of like a Greek battle of Greek gods fighting in the clouds. It was a constant lightning storm for over an hour, and every time it would light up the whole water, and it's just water. It was scary, man. It was like, it really made you think, like, if something happened to this boat right now, like, we're in the middle of the ocean, like, if you fall off, like, that's it, bro.
I know.
Like, no one.
Well, you and Ken would have to do that Titanic move up the front first.
Oh, well, we did that for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, of course.
So yeah, I mean, since then we've had this, consistent bear market. I mean, that was really sort of towards the end of the bear market. It kind of leveled out, but even through 2019, we've had this sort of sideways, slightly up trend, which has been a nice growth, because
it's been a great accumulating year.
Exactly. And as a crypto person, I don't like those massive pumps, because you just feel like you have to check the price constantly, because you don't know when, and you don't know what's gonna, like, it's gonna pop.
Yeah.
Nothing can go double every day. Otherwise, we would be at like 16 million bucks per coin within a few weeks. It just doesn't work.
And John McAfee's dick would be safe.
Nah, John McAfee's dick would be very safe.
Oh man.
But yeah, so it's been a good year. But also as a startup in the space, it's been nice, because it's allowed us to just halt and build and get ready for the next bull run. Because when the bull run happens, you tend to get a lot of business, and because people want to, just to let everyone know, your viewers know, what we do is we run an exchange between Bitcoin and physical gold, where people trade just like on Kraken or Bitstamp or any other exchange, where you have an order book of Bitcoin and physical gold that's sitting in a high security vaulting facility in Switzerland, fully insured and fully audited. And we buy huge big bars, and people buy bits of those bars. So you can buy down to 4 cents and then sell back to Bitcoin.
So let me ask you something. So can people use the gold essentially as tether? Like, can they hop in and out of, like, can they swing trade Bitcoin, and then instead of putting it in tether, they put, their money into gold, and then, Bitcoin dumps, they take it from gold, move it back into Bitcoin, and is that a way for people to trade and kind of take profits on Vaultoro?
Yeah, that's the exact thinking. And we developed Vaultoro way before Tether was even around. And it was for that reason. And now that Tether's there, you've got to think, Tether is uninsured, it's unaudited. It's apparently they've got 2.8 or something like that $billion sitting in two, I think it's Malaysian bank accounts.
Wow.
I mean, the thing is, even if you audit this company, even if some auditor goes in and has a look at their bank accounts and says, yep, there's 2.8 billion there, I can see the number, okay, we give the go ahead, and there is 2.8 billion Tether floating around, okay, everything's clear. But the thing is, the auditor, there's no way for the auditor to actually audit the bank where the backing money is sitting.
Yeah.
And this is crazy, because that bank is legally in fractional reserve, meaning that they go out there and they speculate with those funds. So we've got the bank speculating with 2.8 billion over that side. We've got Tether and all the crypto people, speculating with the tethers. So really, you've got a disaster waiting to happen. And if someone was to buy some illegal substances on the black markets or the Silk Roads, sort of, deep web, and they get busted, the government could shut down the entire pool of money in the bank accounts. They could just freeze the bank accounts. They could, even if the bank just decides, we want to keep this money. This is a business model of a lot of banks these days. They freeze large accounts. And then it takes the account holder like 2 years to, minimum 6 months to unfreeze these things, because they have to go through courts and they have to go through all sorts of.
It's actually happening right now in Canada. There's an exchange called Einstein Exchange, and 2 days ago, the British Columbia Security Council did a raid on their office, froze all their assets. $16 million in user funds are now frozen until they can figure out if everything is basically legitimate. And we had Quadriga. Did you hear about the Quadriga?
Yeah. Oh man, the Quadriga thing, that was
so the owner. I mean, the owner died in India.
Yeah.
And you know, his wife has recently been basically issued an order to liquidate and sell her assets and provide that money back to the users to try and pay back a little bit of the money owed. But we're talking millions and millions and millions and tens of millions of dollars that were lost from that. So, I mean, I understand the premise that the gold, you're not dealing with any of those banking issues of fractional reserve. And, you know, to put it in perspective, man, like, if I had, you know, I can go to the bank and be like, I want to take 20 grand out of my account. They're going to be like, nope, limit of 1,000 today. So they do. No, that's literally my limit. Crazy, I can only access $1,000 out of my money that I have in the bank. And it infuriates me. And it's one of the main reasons I got into crypto, because I don't want to trust or have to trust these third-party services. So Vaultoro does avoid some of that, but I mean, essentially you guys are still a third party. There's still gold. You guys are, how would you say, like a gold custodian? Like, can you explain to me a little bit more how you guys have ownership on this gold, maybe, and like how people can verify that the gold's actually there?
Yeah, sure. So we don't have ownership of the gold, and this is very different to every other exchange. Our users, the gold is in their name as their legal property. It's called allocated gold, which means it's their property. So if anything ever happens to us as an exchange, liquidators couldn't touch our clients' assets.
Okay.
So when Mt. Gox collapsed, which was one of the largest exchanges back in it was the first exchange, Bitcoin exchange, and very, very big. A lot of people had fiat sitting on there, and liquidators are still going through chewing that up. You know, lawyer fees of crazy, you know, $500 an hour, just chewing through that money. Whereas what we do is when someone buys gold, it's legally in their name as their property. That also means that if there is a bad actor in the pool, let's say somebody has some drug money or something that the state doesn't like, the state could not shut down the entire pool of gold, because it's not a pool of gold. It's individual allocated assets, which means that they are legally only allowed to confiscate the asset from the person that did something bad.
So it's all like separate entities, essentially.
Separate entities, and so this is a key difference. And so the exchange that you were talking about right now, Einstein, that could just never happen, because you can't freeze the entire. First of all, it's a private vaulting facility. It's one of the largest vaulting facilities in Switzerland.
Are you able to tell the name of it? Like, what's it called?
Yeah, Brinks.
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 Okay.
We use two, actually. We use Brinks and Pro Aurum. Pro Aurum, they're both extremely big. Pro Aurum's the second largest gold retailer and vaulting facility in Europe.
Okay.
And it's in Switzerland, so it's the European Economic Zone. And it's in a tax-free zone, so that if the gold stays in the vault and you just trade back to crypto, there's never any taxes. This makes it very, very good for trading, because you don't want to pay like VAT or
capital gains every time you do
capital gains and stuff like that. Yeah, that would just be annoying.
Sweet.
So it's a nice way to be able to say, wow, crypto's right up. I'm going to buy something that's in my name as my property, that's fully insured. So if anything, you know, if the Ocean's 12 team managed to get in there, and
it's insured,
and it's insured, yeah, which, you know, it's almost impossible. And a lot of people actually, Sean, the funny thing is when I get it all the time, it's like, oh, Josh, but I'd rather hold the gold. It's at home. I know where it is. That's how I hold gold.
Cool. Do you know, sorry, whose homes are these? Or any of them in Canada?
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. This is especially if you're living in a developing country, like you know, or a country in the continent of Africa. It gets scary to hold bullion at home. So I talked to a insurance company, And insurance companies are good at one thing. The only thing they do really, really well is price risk. And they have a lot of data to price that risk. And so if you go to insure gold at home, it's almost impossible. No insurer will do it because they know that the odds are so stacked against them that they just won't insure it. And if you try to insure it in a high security top tier vaulting facility in Switzerland, which are, got guards and thick metal doors and alarm systems up to the eyeballs, you just know it's safe. And so the insurance that we pay is really, really tiny. The cost of insuring that stuff is small. So, and this is all part of the price of using Vaultoro.
So there isn't an option for people to actually get the gold shipped to them. Like it's strictly oh, there is. Okay.
No. Yeah. You can get it shipped to them. A lot of people don't do it because it really is it's not the cheapest way of getting gold that you can get home and cuddle.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But the option's there because it's your gold. You should be able to do with it what you want. If you want it shipped to you, then hey, let's have it shipped to you. You can even go pick it up at the vaulting facility.
Sweet. I have two questions. So one of them is, what kind of KYC is needed? And I guess it's a two-part question for that. Is there any countries that are barred from using Vaultoro, and are there different countries that require higher levels of KYC?
Yeah, that's like when we first started, I really wanted a way, because gold is a good, just like a television or a couch or anything else.
Yeah.
It's a good. So, when you go and buy a new television, you don't need to pull down your pants and show everything, right? You don't need to like hand over all your ID. So when we first launched, you could purchase $5,000 of gold per day without any KYC. But what happened was in 2017, we had that huge run up, and we were actually selling more gold than the largest supplier in Europe could handle.
Wow.
We had to give them more. Yeah, it was insane. And the problem was then a client died, and the estate of that client contacted us and said, the deceased has assets on your exchange. We'd like to get hold of him. And we were like, oh, he never did any KYC. He just has an email. And they didn't have access to the email. So we had no way of verifying it, and it made it very costly and annoying. So that's when we said, right. And the vaulting facility also said, look, it's allocated. We can allocate it to emails, but it's not the best legal framework.
Of course.
You're better off, because it's allocated in someone's name as their legal property. Let's do some KYC. So what we do is we take basic ID, like a passport, just a photo of it, and a photo of a bill that's less than 3 months old with your address on it. And that way, if you do lose your two-factor ID, or if anything happens, you can re-upload that, and we know, that's you. Okay, great.
Okay.
All that stuff is fully encrypted with military-grade encryption and secured, double hashed and double salted. Sorry.
And what about countries? What about countries? Are there?
Yeah, so the countries we accept, every country, we have amazing. Sometimes I really love the fact that sometimes I look on the site and I see really tiny countries like Myanmar, and people holding like, $3 worth of gold and actually, trading it back to Bitcoin when they wanted it back.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it just makes me sort of think, wow, this is really cool, because now we've got bank accounts sort of for these people, but the bank doesn't speculate with the user's fund. It's just a chunk of metal sitting there. And this is traditionally what a bank should be.
Yeah.
Should be like, I'm putting my money in there, and it sits there until I want it out, and it's my money. A lot of people don't realize when you put money in a bank, it's not your money. It belongs to the bank legally. They can speculate with it. They can do it. But anyway, so we accept clients from all over the world. We have, except, of course, there are some sanctioned lists. We're not allowed to deal with North Korea. We're not allowed to deal with Iran and New York. So
yeah, New York's tricky. They've got like their bit license or whatever that you need to have or something over there. Huh?
Yeah, they really shot themselves in the foot with that because it's a ridiculous nonsense, and it basically is just a way of extorting money from businesses that are trying to work in the space. There's no legal there's no security that any client gets out of being on an exchange that is compliant with that. So we just cut them out. Washington State as well. So yeah, it's sad that that is the case, but it is what it is. And but you know, we did troll them first when that bit license first came out. We joined up with Eric Voorhees to create the a campaign against this nonsense. But then on sign up, we said, I verify that I'm not a citizen of North Korea, Iran, Syria, or New York.
You should have threw in a planet, man.
Yeah.
Like not from Saturn, Uranus, New York, Iran.
I'm definitely not from Uranus.
What kind of volume does the exchange have? Like, what's it sitting at for volume?
Yeah, I mean, we've done, you know, it's not massive. It's not like a major exchange because we are very, very niche, but we've done over about 120 million euros worth of gold has been traded. We just, you know, for the last 5 years, we've been Bitcoin and gold only. So we've had one single pair, and this hasn't really been the best for traders because they can't do what's called an arbitrage, which means that, oh, look, Bitcoin's cheaper on Vaultoro than it is on Poloniex or on Kraken. So, and have two funds on both exchanges and try to, like, you know, buy the good one, the good price on one exchange and then quickly rebalance.
Yeah.
They couldn't do that because we've got one pair. So that's really why we focused on the last year of rebuilding Vaultoro from the ground up, so that we could have multiple pairs and introduce silver, platinum, palladium, other metals like that. And so now that we're doing that, we're also going to introduce negative market making fees. So a lot of people complain about fees that they pay on exchanges, and on Vaultoro, as of in about 2 weeks' time, TM.
Okay.
In about 2 weeks, we'll have fees that we pay people to place orders in the order book. So instead of you paying a fee, I don't know if your listeners know. I guess we can explain maker taker.
I don't even know. So let's teach me about it.
All right. So in a market, you have makers and you have takers, and what that means is someone that places an order into an order book, and it sits there and it waits to be taken. You're making the market because you're filling an order book full of orders. Just like if you went to a marketplace to sell bananas, you would go there with your bananas and you'd place them for sale. And a market taker is someone that comes in and buys the banana. So they don't. So for instance, if you come on the exchange and place an order for gold and just have it sitting in the order book, and then someone with gold comes and says, "Oh, I'll have that, and I'll meet that price."
Yeah.
That means they're a taker. They're taking the order from the order book.
Okay.
And because they're taking from the order book, they're removing liquidity. So we charge them a fee. But if you place an order and if your order gets taken, you actually get paid a fee.
That's cool, man. So are there any other exchanges doing that, or?
I think Bittrex does it.
Okay.
And no, not Bittrex, BitMEX.
BitMEX.
Sorry,
Okay.
they do it.
Yeah, that's
and
one I don't do. I don't really do much trading, man. I never was into it. In like 2017, I was buying into ICOs and then just converting to Bitcoin when I had profits or losing.
Hey, wow, that's clever. And because a lot of people didn't, they're holding bags.
Dude, I honestly, man, I had the gut intuition of all gut intuitions. I'll never forget this because it was December 23rd, right before Christmas.
Wow.
2017, December 23rd was when I sold all my crypto. And
fantastic.
Honestly, and I mean, you know, me and you have talked, man. I have no financial background. I have no trading background. Strictly gut intuition. I invested into Electronium, which was I don't know if you
right.
So I put a couple bucks in, man, like honestly less than $50, and I shared my referral links with a few people that picked some up, and from that less than $50 investment, I walked away with like over $4,000. And I was like,
wow,
what the hell? Like, this is way too good to be true. And Bitcoin was at just about 20,000 US at that time. Ethereum was at like 1,400. Like, and I had some pretty good bags, and I was like, you know what, like, someone like me with no background in this should not be making this much money. Something's about to pop here. And I sold everything and got out, and thank God I did, because a lot of people, man, holy cow, people that were buying in at 20,000, I was like, no.
Yeah. I mean, this is this is really where you reach the precipice of human foolishness. Is this whole like greed factor comes in, where you think, oh wow, it's already at like 20 grand, everyone's getting rich, I'm going to jump in. And the funny thing is, it happens on the flip side too. We were down at the lowest lows, and look, this and no one's buying.
I know,
everyone's like, oh no, it's over.
Dude, even me, man. Even me, when it hit 3,200, I was like, it'll go to 24. And then it went up to like, and then it never saw below 4,000 again since. And I even like an idiot remember posting when it hit 3,200, and I was like, if you didn't think Bitcoin was valuable at 4,000, you shouldn't be buying it at 32. It's going to go back to, it'll go lower. And I had a few people be like, hey, Sean, when are we seeing that $2,400 Bitcoin? I'm like, shut up, no one's perfect.
Oh yeah, I mean, Tone Vase got it bad, because he was
everyone's got it bad.
But yeah, look, it happens on both sides, and it doesn't just happen to the normal guy. Like I've been trying to raise money for Vaultoro for a while, for an A round, and like a pre-A round, and even VCs, man. VCs they're there to professional investors, and they also didn't buy at the lows, and some of them didn't sell at the highs, because the power of human greed or foolishness is greed's the strongest one here, because you think like it could go even higher. It could go. I don't want to sell. Like, why would I jump off a train that's speeding at 1,000,000 miles an hour upwards? And why would I jump onto a train that's speeding at 1,000,000 miles an hour downwards? Like, it's unintuitive, but really that's what you have to do. And I think it was like, I don't know, one of those assholes like JP Morgan or something like that said, buy when there's blood in the streets.
Yeah, I think it was, I mean, I think that's a pretty common like Warren Buffett quote is, be greedy when others are fearful.
Right. And it makes total sense.
So much sense.
It makes so much sense, but it's very, very unintuitive, right? When everyone's talking shit on Bitcoin, when everyone's like just saying, nah, it's over, it'll go to 20, it'll go to 2. When everyone's sort of, and everyone's feeling crap about it, everyone's holding empty bags. Why?
It's so hard. It's so hard.
Anybody pile in?
It's the mob mentality, man. It's so hard to go against it. You're like, you're just, it's. I hear you, man. I fought with it all year. I was like, it's gonna go lower. I'm not gonna buy, and I made some good moves though, so I'm not complaining.
Look, I mean, this is not financial advice. I just want to stress that.
None of this is.
But I would say that some of the good strategies that I've seen, the only strategy that I've seen work well, is to cross average buy and cross average sell.
Like dollar cost averaging? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, or gold cost average. So
okay,
as our users would do. So as the price is going up, if you see that every week, generally on average, On a 30-day average, the price has been going up. Just sell a little bit off every, as a percentage. So you never get to zero because it's always a percentage. And you just sell a little bit off all the way up. And if you're in a down market, just buy a little bit back every week, or whenever sort of, not whenever, but on a regular basis.
Yeah. Whatever you can afford to, whether you're doing $20, $50, $100, $1,000 a month or a week. Yep. Like, people need to figure out what they're, man, people need to figure out that's the beauty of Bitcoin, is how easy it is to buy small amounts of it. There's ATMs all over the world. I think we're almost at 4,000, 5,000 ATMs across the planet that you can go to and throw a $20 bill in and pull out some Bitcoin. So, yeah, man. So what do you
really? That's the secret there. Because sorry, I just want to finish off that.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you do that, you really are averaging out your buy-in. So let's say you bought your first very very cheap and your last very expensive. You're actually buying in the middle there, and the same with when you're selling. Because it's so hard to find the top and sell it. Because if you sell your whole bags at one point, you can get lucky like you did, but most people will see the price even going higher. And most people, what they'll do is they'll sell, the price will go higher the next few days, and they'll be like, oh, I sold everything. And then they'll pile back in, losing losing a lot because they buy less in, and then it collapses, stuff like that. So it's much better just to slowly collect and slowly sell.
Awesome. That's definitely good information, man. Because look how many people try to do these price predictions and call the top and call the bottom. There's a few good TA people out there, but it's too hard to, man, and it's too stressful. Like, the way you just described it sounds like such a low stress way to maximize on the potential of earning it in that industry, right? So I like that, man. I'm gonna probably try that out. I'm my day job's going well, and I'm in a position now where I can start making kind of regular investments into a couple different things. And I'll definitely be picking your brain a little bit, maybe for good times and good strategies, man. What do you think was one of your biggest memories from 2019, man? Like, something that happened in crypto, what do you think was a big
Geez, I'd have to think about that one.
I know it's a big question. A year's a long time.
A year's a long time, and the crypto space is so wild that there's always some crazy thing happening, and it's really like living in a sci-fi novel, because there's so much wacky stuff. It's calmed down a lot now, and I think really,
I don't know, man. This last week's been pretty crazy with this Jorg Molt guy being exposed as a big scammer at World CryptoCon in Las Vegas. Ken Bozak calling him out.
Right. Who was that? Yeah, I saw that video.
Dude, that guy.
It's some German guy, right?
Yeah, man. He looks like the bad guy from Die Hard 2.
That's right.
So Ken Bozak, that guy was on the cruise with us, dude. He was, remember the panel that we did with Ken and Ivan and Tone and Jimmy Song? And
he was up the front.
Dude, he was the guy that we had to take the fucking microphone from, and we were like, do you have a question? Like, can you just shut up and sit down? Like, he never asked a question. He was just blabbering about himself. So we met that guy.
Yeah, right. Now I remember that guy. Yeah. So what? He's saying that he's another Satoshi, or what?
Well, he's saying that he's a co-founder of Bitcoin. He had that on his Twitter profile as in his description, and he goes around to events saying this, saying that he and even to the extent of I'm Satoshi, and I there's a lot of information being shared around Twitter right now of him, allegedly ripping off a lot of women. Apparently he's just a failed DJ of Germany, who now runs apparently a Satoshi school where he charges, crazy admission fees and claims to be an expert and claims that he can hack Ethereum in 5 minutes. So all this shit, yeah, all this stuff, man. Like Ken saw all this and was like, just pulled his phone out, walked up, and was like, guys, this guy's a fucking scammer. He says he's Satoshi. He's not Satoshi. He's a scammer. These people need to be out of this space. And the guy knocked Ken's hat off his head.
That hat knockoff, that was pretty epic.
That would have been it for me, man. That would have been that would have been him flying through a table or something if he would have touched me like that. So and then old Mr. Clean guy behind him came up and started getting in Ken's face, and so it's turned into a big thing. I mean, obviously Ken has a lot of reach. Ken has a lot of people that follow him and respect him and have his back, me being one of them. And so that the video of that went viral pretty quickly on Twitter and Facebook, and then
I think I commented on that video saying, oh, it's Satoshi Crapamoto.
Yeah. Oh man, I made so many memes making fun of this guy. It's been great, man. I mean, that's my special. I love making memes.
Memes are just fantastic. Dude, I think this is the only currency backed by memes.
Dude, and honestly, like, not to toot my own horn that much, but I think I'm like the best memer in the crypto space. I mean, I'm pumping out my memes go viral, and I think they're hilarious, and I get great feedback.
Yeah.
But so I mean, I love when there's situations like this. It's like I just have an opportunity to make a lot of memes. So I don't know if you've seen them, but this is one of them here.
I love it.
That's
great.
And I feel like there's a lot. Oh yeah, this one I'm pretty proud of this one. You've heard of Elf of a Shelf. Now get ready for Scammer on a Hammer.
What? That's great. Scammer on a hammer.
Yeah, man. So I mean, you gotta have fun.
I mean, why would you do that? It's always baffled me. Like as if you can't. Why would you go down the path of saying that you're like Satoshi? I mean, it's just nuts.
Yeah, it's
really, really fucking stupid.
Honestly, man, like I'm developing a really strong desire to call out and expose scammers in this space. Ken is a very close friend of mine. I consider him the brother I never had. I mean, automatically I'm there to defend him in any way, but he really has inspired me, man, to like there's who else would do that, man? So many people see, and I'm not just talking in the crypto space, I'm talking life in general, man. Like, how many videos do we see online of women getting beat and 10 guys walking by and no one doing a fucking thing? And I just respect Ken so much for whether some people might not agree with how he swears and how he's open with the fact that he does drugs and how he does these videos and it's unprofessional, but you know what?
No, whatever.
He's got the balls to do it. Like,
and it's an open source, open play. There's no company here. You can have crazies, you can have anarchists, you can have businessmen, you can have regulators, you can have idiots, you can have fools, you can have top people, and you can have geniuses.
Yep. And we have all of those things.
And we have them all. So screw these people that say, oh, he's not professional and stuff like that. Ken's a top guy.
Yeah.
He really is a top shelf person, and has is also a really nice guy to boot.
Dude,
he'll call out a scammer, but he'll also
give you the shirt off his back, man. He's that kind of guy. He'll give you his last Satoshi. And so then what happened after that was, and this is where things get really interesting, man, is Jorg or Jorg Malt, whoever you say his name, was invited onto the Wild West Crypto Show, which is a podcast with a couple thousand subscribers, and they're somewhere out of the States. They literally dress up like cowboys. They're two old men. They're in their 50s or 60s. They wear cowboy hats. They've got gray beard. They're just these two old hicks, and you know, self-proclaimed non-experts in crypto in any way. Have this guy who has been claiming to be the co-founder of Bitcoin on their podcast, and then there's in their podcast, while they're interviewing this guy, they say, you know what, it's really easy to spread rumors around, so we're going to make a landing page and we're going to pay an anonymous person to start making allegations that Ken Bozak is a child molester.
Oh my God.
And that's and then on top of that, now there's pretty substantial allegations and rumors that Jorg Molt paid them 2 Bitcoins to come on their podcast and do this slander towards Ken.
What?
So there's been a lot of drama over the last week over this. I'm actually blocked now from Wild West Crypto. They've blocked me on Twitter because I was like you know, making memes, making fun of them. I think it's ridiculous that there's another huge scam right now that I'm taking a personal vendetta against, which is Cloud Token, Cloud 2.0. Have you heard of it?
No. I tend to not be able to hear stuff anymore.
It's BitConnect 4.0, man. It's auto trading, MLM, guaranteed 12 to 18% returns.
No. Anything that says guaranteed, you just have to walk away.
It's just total non-sustainable in any way.
Good, man. Call them out. You know, this is really important. And I think if you do have a voice in this space, and if we choose to have a voice, we also have to choose to call out blatant scams.
Yeah.
And the thing is that there are certain people, like I like Tonebase. He's a friend of mine. You know, I'm not laying shit on him, but he tends to call everything a scam.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's good either, because you know, there are legitimate projects that people work really hard at. It's just that they probably won't work, but they're experiments in the space.
Yeah.
And if you're you know, interested in that and you want to support that, you can. But then there's also legitimate scams that are really there to rip as many people off as they can, and then take the money and run. And these people need to be exposed so broadly. And not only that, I mean, you know, your shows, Let's Learn Crypto, or
Just Learn Crypto. Yeah.
Just Learn Crypto, sorry. And part of learning crypto, and I've said this for a long time, is that, you know, when regulators started coming into the scene and they started coming to the conferences, and there's like, well, we've got to have more and more regulation because all these people are getting scammed. We've got to really regulate the heck out of this. And I think no, you don't actually. You need education.
Yeah, you need investor education, man.
Investor education. And because I feel that the West, especially, I mean, no, not the West, everyone, but large governments have de-risked the entire financial sector to the point where you are not allowed to invest in a startup unless you're an accredited investor, which means you have at least $1 million of liquidity. That's not $1 million in a house, $1 million out just sitting there ready to, you know, use. And so this locks away all these people from investing in things.
Yeah, man.
But they can spend it on the horses.
It puts huge walls around it, man. Huge barriers of entry. Like regular people like me, I can't invest on that level, and I may never be able to. You know what I mean? And that was one of the things that excited me the most about 2017, man. Was anyone with a fucking smartphone could go on and invest in these companies, and I thought that was so badass. That was such a cool thing, man. It was like it was a big thing while I was falling down the crypto rabbit hole that kept me going down the hole. Was like, holy cow, this is so borderless and global, and accessible to anyone, and you know, the ability to put $5 into an ICO and have a stake and feel like you're investing and you're doing, you know, making good life choices.
Right. And the thing is that after years of de-risking everyone out of being able to do that, of course, what happens is when we do have what you just explained, this borderless, permissionless way of people investing, of course, you get people just running and going, oh, like with no idea about anything, because they've been de-risked for their entire life. You know, and de-risking doesn't mean education to the state. It means like, no, you're not allowed to do it. You're just not allowed. You're allowed to blow your money on at the casino or at the slot machines or at the horses or the dogs, but investing in something like a actual or a lotto, you know, investing in something actual and real is not allowed because it's too risky. And the problem there is now people really they've become so dumb. Like, I'm not saying that you're dumb or they're dumb or any particular person's dumb, but generally.
Oh, I'm pretty dumb. Don't worry about it. I'm cool. I've accepted it.
No, I'm you know what I mean. In general, people have been uneducated about what risk actually looks like. So when they see a sign that says guaranteed returns of 18%, they think, wow, guaranteed. Oh, that's good. It's guaranteed. I mean, what could go wrong? And they pile in. And you see OneCoin, you see BitConnect, you see these companies skyrocketing, and they're so blatant. They're such blatant scams. If you know what risk looks like, which a lot of people do, but it just looks so blatant. And the problem is then you get these huge regulators coming in after the fact, that and saying, we'll save you, with their regulator superhero costumes on, and say, all right, we'll save you. We'll just, you know, regulate the heck out of this industry and make it pretty much impossible for the normal guy to invest in really interesting projects.
Yeah. And I think like what stops, and what at least used to stop me from speaking out on scams a lot was, have you ever tried to tell someone who's in an MLM or a Ponzi scheme that they're in an MLM or a Ponzi scheme? Dude, it's like talking to a fucking wall. Like, they've already drank the Kool-Aid, man. They're in it. And I feel like that's the problem, that a lot of people, you know, they're trying to take on the task of getting people out of the project. And I feel like that's the wrong way to do it. I feel like we need to be educating people that are considering going into it and stopping more people from going in. And that's actually a battle that I think can be won, as opposed to the other one, which I feel is kind of a losing fight. So, you know, when I sit here and try to call out projects like Cloud Token, and, you know, I've called out BitConnect in the past, I've called out TradeCoin Club in the past, zero problem calling out a Ponzi or a scam. And, you know, even there's, you know, people in my own city right here in Calgary that are promoting Cloud Token, that I've messaged, called out, talked to in person. I'm now receiving death threats from people that are involved in this program. And the only thing that's doing is making me talk louder about the scams. So, like,
I mean, you know, you're calling out a scam when you're getting death threats.
Yeah,
right?
man. I mean, I posted it earlier today. I posted a big post, and I hope you can maybe go on my Facebook wall after this and check it out. But there's quite a few people, man. And I just did a lot of digging. I actually had a buddy of mine's a private investigator, and just spent about an hour and a half doing research on the guy who I'm talking about. His name is Jan Serrato, who has at least 10 different fake names that he goes under, has a criminal record bigger than a book, and really scary criminal record as well, like stalking, and one of them was like the charge, I forget the way they word it, but it's like holding a human hostage, pretty much, like wrongful incarceration or something. I don't know, man. Basically holding someone against their will, and just God. Like, and then just like, you know, diving down the rabbit hole of that person's life, Jan, who's promoting this friggin' Ponzi scheme. This guy lives 5 minutes away from me. This guy's threatening me, and this guy's also trying to use people like Ken. Like he was in Vegas at World CryptoCon doing videos, and then trying to get like people like Ken and Brock Pierce in the videos to be like, hey guys, we're here with Cloud Token, hanging out with my boy Ken Bozak. And then as soon as I showed, Ken all the proof I have against Cloud Token, Ken and me and a bunch of other people are now publicly calling out this company and the people promoting it. A bunch of people, over 50 people now, where I live here in the part of Canada that I live in, have reported this whole thing to the British Columbia Security Commission and the Alberta Security Commission. And there's now warnings up about Cloud Token on the Canadian version of what the US has as the SEC.
Yeah, right.
So now, and they even say in the report, we're currently investigating a guy in Canada who's promoting this project heavily. So they're talking about the guy here in Calgary, Jan, who I'm calling out right now. And I'm reading now articles going back 15 years of him pulling scams. He's a professional scammer. He just finds something to hop onto, uses a fake name, takes hundreds of thousands of dollars from investors, and then goes and parties it all off. There's videos of him like hanging out with friggin' prostitutes in Malaysia, like just scum of the world, man. So I have no problem with it, man. I'm gonna call anyone out. You know,
just stay safe, Sean, man. Like, you know, some of these people are pretty unpredictable. They want to keep their crap lifestyle.
That's fine. I mean, people don't know my background, but I'm not someone to mess with either, man. It's like
no. I mean, you're built like a brick shit house, that's for sure.
Well, I know. I hear what you're saying though. And like, I mean, I agree with you in the sense that there's the right way to do it and the wrong way to do it. And I gave Jan and others promoting Cloud Token the opportunity to come on the podcast and show me what I'm not seeing. Like, explain yourself. Like, let's have a conversation about this. But no, it ended in threats and really immature comebacks and, you know, I bet you live in your mom's basement. I'm like, okay, I see we're not going to have an educated discussion about this. So
right.
You know what I mean? So it's good.
You know, what advice would you give about what to look out for? I mean, my biggest advice is anything that says guarantee.
Anything that says guaranteed. I would say anything that is giving off the vibe of any of the, like, look into the previous Ponzi schemes and stuff that we've had. Look at BitConnect as the perfect example, which is hoorah rah, huge events, huge events, man. You know, glitter and confetti and you know, just making money and BitConnect and just
like we're talking stadiums here, guys.
Stadiums,
man. And we're talking fucking stadiums.
And this is exactly to a T what Cloud Token is doing. So I mean, it's hold on, I'm gonna share my screen here for 2 seconds just to give an example of this because I have it up on my screen right now. So first of all, here's another one of my my Jorg Molt memes. And this one I love this one. Just because he looks like the bad guy from Die Hard, the German guy. But let's go. Oh shoot, sorry, my bad. It is. How do you go away? How do you make this thing go away?
Kevin Cage. That's a great name.
Where is? Okay, so this is the post that I put up about Cloud Token. It's a giant Ponzi scheme. It's being promoted by a scammer in my own city of Calgary. So this is the actual from the website from the British Columbia Security Commission. The company behind Cloud Wallet, Cloud Technology, and Investment Payments is registered in Australia. One of the people promoting Cloud Token in online forums lives in Canada. Quite sure they're referring to Jan. They're warning people in this here. I mean, like, a great thing for people to do is really search up the company before you invest in it. I mean,
absolutely.
And no one does that, man. And I mean, and you can't trust everything you see on YouTube and Google. So, you know, you can search up anything and type the word scam beside it. Someone's going to call everything a scam, and not everything is a scam, right? So, I mean, there's more legitimate ways to search up things. So search up on your local security commission website. Call your local fraud department. See if anyone's been dealing with issues. Research the founders. Dive into like that, do some due diligence, but
absolutely. You look, if you look at how a professional VC invests, they don't just chuck their money in because they look at a YouTube video of some sort of influencer that says this is a great investment.
So look at this. This is BitConnect. This is Cloud Token. This is the founder of Cloud Token here. His name's Ronald AI is his last name. And this is Jan. Jan is the guy from Calgary with the colorful shirt on here.
Right, yeah.
I mean, tell me that's not the same exact vibe that you're getting.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this guy's smile, and like, look at this guy's smile. It's so and so this is, if anyone watching wants to make fun, like troll anyone and send them stupid messages, this is the guy here, Ronald AAI. He's the founder, whatever, the top guy at Cloud Token. This is another guy in Calgary here, man, that's promoting it with Jan. These are his two buddies. And it's right on the website, man. They're warning people right here, you know, that users are required to make minimum donations. These apps claim a big payout from some kind of automated crypto trading, appearing too good to be true.
I mean, that's what BitConnect said as well.
Exactly, dude. That's literally the exact thing. It's copy paste, man. It's the same thing. So I mean, you know what? Anyone who wants to come on my podcast and try and give me an educated argument as to why this is not a scam, fucking come on, like explain it to me, please. I really want to know. Every time I bring it up to someone, all I get is, it's not my responsibility to make people do research, or it's paying out now, so how's it a scam if I'm getting paid? Everything pays until it doesn't, bro.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, this is the fundamentals of a Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme, you get in, and the guarantees, the payouts are coming from new people coming in, and eventually the new people coming in dry out, and then it dies.
Yeah, exactly, man. And that's why I say, and it's always the last people that get in that get screwed the most, because you know they haven't had a chance to even get any returns yet. So that's why I say it's you know, I feel it's my responsibility and everyone's responsibility who has a voice in this space to call out scammers, because we may not be able to get people that are already involved out of it, but we can hopefully stop new people from getting in, or at least some. So, you know, and who knows how far the ripple effects of our actions go. I mean, yeah, I might just be one guy, you know, with a few people that watch my show, and, you know, I put a post on Facebook. Who knows who's going to see that? Who knows how far that might go, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think? We'll wrap this up pretty soon, man. It's like 2 a.m. for me. So, what do you think we're going to see in 2020, man? Do you have any predictions at all? Not necessarily price predictions, but just, you know, anything?
The whole bear market has really seen a big wipeout of a lot of these scams, you know, and not only scams, but just weak projects as well.
Yep.
You know, there was a lot of projects that were definitely not scams, but they were weak in terms of they just didn't have a model, a proper business model, or a way to stay alive. And I think it wiped out a lot of that. It also helped educate the market about what to look out for, what really is valuable in the space. So I think in 2020 we're going to see some big moves by countries starting to come into the space. We're going to see some bigger projects starting to, a couple of really solid dApps, I think, will hit the market that will work, decentralized applications. We will start to see wallets really interfacing a lot easier with the general public, and the general public starting to actually use this as money.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see a few countries collapse in terms of financial crisis? I mean,
any predictions on that? Like, which ones are you thinking of?
I think
like Venezuela. I know they're going through a pretty hard.
I mean Venezuela anyway, but yeah, South America, where there's other countries in South America. Chile is always been very strong.
Yeah,
Chile has been very strong as an economy in South America, but starting to show cracks.
Isn't there? There's been like a bunch of
Argentina
rioting in Chile, hasn't there lately?
Yeah, there's been a bunch of rioting. I mean, the rioting will only get worse. You know, I don't want to be the doom and gloom guy, but there is a lot of cracks starting to show in a system that's systematically built on a corrupt foundation. And I'm not saying corrupt as in a person's corrupt. I'm saying that the concept is corrupted. So, you know, to have a system of infinite debt that's printed out of nowhere. And when I say debt, I mean, when you hold a $10 note in your hand, somebody owes $10 to the bank with interest, and that interest doesn't exist in the system. There's not enough money to pay back all the money. So, and this has been going on. And when you hear that the New York Fed has printed another $28 billion, they've printed more debt, and there's interest attached to that as well. So it's going to collapse. There's also, when we just mentioned Ponzi schemes. You know, one of the biggest Ponzi schemes that I know of is actually sadly is the pension schemes of most countries.
Yeah.
Because pension schemes are based on getting new young people in to pay for the old people that are leaving and need to pay out. And the fact of the matter is, young people just aren't having enough kids for the baby boomers. And the baby boomers had such a large a bunch of people that they're starting to get into retiree mode, and there's just not enough money in this Ponzi scheme.
And it's scary, man. And it's really sad too, man, to think that, you know, more than 95% of people are going to have to work till the day they die. And
yeah, it's messed up.
It sucks to think that a lot of people, I mean, you know, we get this one life, we're gifted with this one opportunity to live as humans on this planet, and so many people are, you know, hardly get to live a day of their life, and it's sucks.
They're pushing wheelbarrows on an hourly basis.
But we've got this vessel now, crypto, and you know, companies like you, man, Vaultoro, that are giving people options to hedge their finances in gold and in crypto as well. So is that the answer to the cracks?
I mean, I don't think there's one single answer, but I think definitely getting out of if you have large amounts of savings in fiat, or even not large, whatever large means to you, I would say, you know, it's a good idea to start looking at putting it into real assets, putting it into some gold, into some crypto, into some real estate, you know, into something that actually holds value. Because
you said real estate in a weird way. Do you feel like real estate's less of a stable asset than gold or Bitcoin?
Look, if you're going to live in it, it's never unstable. It's a great thing to get.
Exactly.
But if you're going to invest in it, there's boom and bust cycles. So, you know, I would, for instance, London is just crazy expensive. You know, you can say, well, it's because there's fuck all land. So, you know, there's only you can only put so many houses. But at the same time, I think it probably looks like a bubble. You don't want to be buying there right now. So, you know, you need to choose the right moments. But if you need a house, if you have a house and you're going to live in that house, then I would say that's probably a good thing, because, you know, everyone's always going to have to live somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Although, you know, renting
except for those damn gypsies, man. Listen, buddy. Thanks. I gotta wrap it up, man, because I'm gonna fall asleep pretty soon. This is my third podcast of the night, and it's almost 2:30 in the morning. But where can people find more information about Vaultoro, and maybe give a little call to action to anyone watching right now?
Yeah, man. Like, guys, check out Vaultoro. That's Vault, like a gold vault, Vault, and Oro, which is Spanish for gold, Vaultoro. And also check out on Twitter, I'm J Scigala. That's JSCIGALA. on Twitter at Scigala or at Vaultoro. Yeah, from there, follow the White Rabbit.
Yeah, we're going to put all the links in the description. So if you guys want to check out Vaultoro, do a little bit of trading with some gold and some crypto. Do you guys have like a referral program or anything like that?
Yeah, we'll be launching that very, very soon. We'll be giving, if you refer someone, you get 0.5 gram of gold, and
wow.
and your referee also gets 0.5 gram. So,
that's awesome, man.
So yeah, that's coming very soon. We're just everything's has to be tested.
Yeah,
crypto's far too slippery not to test stuff. So.
Hey man, I'm not rushing you. Honestly, dude, I could chat with you for another 2 hours if I didn't cut it off. So we got to do this again soon, man. We got to hop back on within the next couple weeks and pick this conversation up when maybe at a better time for both of us. I want to give a quick shout out to my sponsors and just contributors and people that I believe in the space right now. So huge shout out firstly to you and Vaultoro, because I love what you guys are doing.
Thanks, Sean.
I want to give a shout out to uptrend.com. That's uptrend with 2 N's. They're a new social media site that I've been using. And it's really just for crypto people. It's like Reddit, but you actually earn their ERC20 token with the upvotes that you get from posting. And you can either exchange that token for Ethereum. It's liquid on quite a few exchanges. Or you can use that token to buy advertising on their social media platform. So if you have a business, you can post, earn free money, use that free money to advertise on their site. And they're gaining more and more users every day. Last about a month and a half ago, they were over 10,000. I'm sure they're close to 20 now. Epic Cash, which is a new community project that I've been looking into a lot. They're anonymous internet cash. They use Mimblewimble technology, and their website is epic.tech. They're faster, cheaper, and more private than Bitcoin. So they do have a couple things going for them. But they're still a really small community-driven project, so it's a really cool opportunity. SwissKey.io, we were talking about wallets a little bit. A good friend of mine, Kyle Kemper, is going to be launching SwissKey.io.
Is that these guys here? Hang on, let's have a look. Oh no, that's is that them?
No, but I saw a couple. Oh no, very similar logo though, because SwissKey uses a very similar. They have like the red with the white cross, but SwissKey is a mobile Bitcoin multi cryptocurrency app built on top of the Edge wallet.
Right, cool.
And it they've integrated a couple more privacy features, and they've kind of stepped it up on the user experience side of things, so it's a little bit easier to use. And then I feel like I'm forgetting someone. Pre-search, love Pre-search. If you haven't checked it out yourself, Josh, check it out. It's presearch.org. They're their own search engine that actually pays you in crypto to use them instead of Google. And they don't sell or trade any of your information. They don't save your browsing history. And you can actually choose if you want to search through Google, Etherscan, DuckDuckGo, Bing, Yahoo, or their proprietary search engine. So those are a couple projects that I just really like right now, and I love sharing them out, man, especially to the people that I'm having on the show, because it's all about spreading awareness around. So Josh, we're gonna do this again soon, man. Thank you so much. We're gonna put all the links.
Just a quick one. If people want to check out the Bank to the Future campaign, that's bnktothefuture.com. That's we're doing the equity crowdfunding on there.
And the equity crowdfunding for Vaultoro.
Yeah.
So this is an opportunity for people to invest and actually get equity in the Vaultoro.
Yeah. So and Shapeshift has been on Bank to the Future. Kraken has been on there, so it's a very good site.
That's awesome, man. Make sure you send me the link for that so I can put it in the description. And are there minimums or any limitations for that?
I think the minimum is $1,000.
Okay.
I think. Yeah,
I've got to
check. Man. I'm not sure.
Cool, man. Well, listen, we'll put all this in the description. If anyone's still watching this video all the way to the end, thank you so much for sticking around. And as always, guys, this isn't financial advice. This is just, we're sharing our opinions and what we think and what we've learned in the space. So always do your own research. And if you have questions, reach out, man. Ask. Let's figure this stuff out together. Let's figure out this crazy internet money. And I hope everyone has a great day, a great night, wherever you are in the world. And Josh, thanks again so much for coming on, man. Let's do this again soon.
Thanks, Sean. Cheers, mate.
Peace.